Greetings, non-believers. This is Rabbit Ape, and I am here to respond to Brett Keane's Atheist Challenge. Brett, I want to thank you for throwing these questions out there. I've been kind of thinking about doing something like this, where I ask myself some hypothetical questions and answer them just for the sake of posterity. So I appreciate you putting these together. These are really good questions. So let me just get into it here. First off, would I prefer that there be a God? No. First, I would prefer that the reins of destiny be in our hands rather than our invisible sky daddy. Second, morality should be about suffering and happiness and not just following his rules. If I want to sit in my basement and stick my dick in a bowl of pudding while watching gay porn and listening to Tupac, as long as I'm not harming anyone in the process, then my actions do not have any moral significance. If a God were proven to exist and required service, would I do anything it told me? You might think I'm kind of weak on this one, and please call me out on it if you do, but yeah, if God were proven, it would pretty much validate Pascal's wager, which is normally intellectually bankrupt. Now let's look at two hypothetical scenarios of being robbed at gunpoint. In the first scenario, a hobo stumbles out of an alley smelling like a distillery. You can't really understand what he's saying, but it does sound kind of threatening. He's carrying a gun, but he's sloppy enough that the gun's not even pointing at you most of the time. And you know what? Actually, now that you look at it, you can't even tell if that's a real gun or not. It might just be a pellet gun or a water pistol. In the second scenario, the guy rappels from a rooftop, does a backflip as he jumps the rest of the way down, pulls out a double-barreled shotgun, fires it point blank at the face of your best friend. This causes their brains to splatter on the wall while their corpse falls to the ground and blood pours out of the hole where their head used to be. And he then shoots you in the knee, completely severing the lower part of your leg. After you fall to the ground, he kicks you square in the nuts, puts the shotgun barrel in your mouth, and cocks it. In which of those two scenarios are you more likely to hand over your wallet? Number 3, which is the more valuable life, a 5-year-old or a 50-year-old? They are both valuable. DavenBrain said it very succinctly, so I actually stopped watching his video to make sure I don't steal any more answers. But as he said, one is valuable because of its potential, and the other is valuable because of its experience. In a life or death situation that required stealth, fortitude, or intelligence, a 5-year-old might actually be a liability. In a life or death situation that required small size, very long time frames, or genetic diversity, the 5-year-old might come out ahead. Without being given any more information, I'd probably lean a little bit more towards saying the 5-year-old is more valuable, only because given the advancement of medicine, people who are 50 years old today will probably have a shorter lifespan than those who are 5 years old today. Number 4, what would it take for me to believe in a God? It would probably take something pretty huge. You know, if the rapture happened, that should be obvious, I would hope. If Jesus literally descended from the clouds and started hurling bolts of righteousness at the wicked, I'd probably believe then too. If prayer worked 100% of the time, or if God literally answered prayers, as in, God, please heal my Aunt Susan. And then God goes, oh yeah, I did give her cancer, didn't I? Oh yeah, sorry, hold on just a second. You know, I guess I'd say I would need evidence, like I would for anything else. Number 5, have I ever done anything altruistic? Yes, I donate to panhandlers if they have an obvious affliction like missing limbs. If I see someone pushing their car down the street, I get out of my car and I go and help them. I let people change lanes in front of me, even if it requires me slowing down or letting someone get in front of me. If I see something at a store that I know one of my friends or family would really like to have, then I will buy it for them, not because it's their birthday or because it's Christmas, but just because I know that they would enjoy it. I like to think that I tip well. I have donated blood. If I see a kid looking hungrily at a coin-operated video game, I will drop in 50 cents so that he can play. I do these things not to avoid punishment or to get into paradise. I do them to reduce suffering and to increase happiness. It's that simple. Would I take an immortality pill? That really depends on the nature of the immortality. If it were still possible for me to kill myself in some way when I've had enough of living, then hell yes, I would take the immortality pill. That'd be great. Now, if the pill actually made it impossible to die, let's say I fly into the center of the sun, get converted into light and energy, and get distributed throughout the solar system, the galaxy, and then the universe, and every particle contains my consciousness, then hell no. I would not want to spend billions and billions of years as trillions of particles sailing in different directions through voids of space. There would be some very interesting and very beautiful sights along the way, to be sure, but the vast majority of those billions of years would be the perfection of boredom and monotony. I have in fact prepared a simulation, so... Number 7. Who would I send to hell, myself or an innocent 2-year-old? Without being given any information about the ultimate destiny of the 2-year-old in question, my natural selfishness might make me more obliged to send the 2-year-old to hell rather than myself, I will admit. If the outcome of my decision has no effect on the world, as in the 2-year-old is going to die at the age of 2, no matter which choice I make, and I'm going to die whenever I'm supposed to die, no matter which choice I make, I think the moral thing to do really is just flip a coin. If this involves actually ending my life or ending the 2-year-old's life, I probably have to go again with sending the 2-year-old to hell, only because it is statistically unlikely that the child will grow up to be as altruistic as I am. I know that sounds incredibly cocky, and maybe it is. I'm not necessarily referring to the mundane stuff I mentioned in the previous question, but if you go to my mission statement call to arms video, I think you'll understand what I mean. I am actively trying to make the world better for the future of humanity as a whole, and not just me and my own. Number 8. If I had to follow a man-made god, which one? Now that is a no-brainer. The flying spaghetti monster. I can explain it in 6 words. Pirate regalia, stripper factory, beer volcano. Enough said. Should a god be held to its own principles and rules? I would hope so, only because a god who didn't live by his own rules might be hard to follow, as in, his will might not be clear to us if he says one thing, let's say, thou shalt not kill, while doing another, say, killing people. Number 10. Do I hate God, and do I hate people that believe in God? First off, I cannot hate something that's not real. So I guess I don't hate God any more than I hate Wotan or square circles. Do I hate people that believe in a God? No, I just feel sorry for them. I'm also puzzled by them, I am angry at them, and I am worried because of them for all of us. But do I hate them? No. Number 11. Are agnostics honest in their position? I think I understand what you're asking, but before I get to my answer, I want to emphasize that depending on how you define the word agnostic, it's not necessarily incompatible with being a militant hardcore atheist. One way of defining agnostic is simply someone who acknowledges that they don't know the answer to these questions, but might still believe in X or Y. But to answer your question, I think that maybe agnostics are not honest with themselves. They do not seek to deceive anyone else, but they can come to fallacious conclusions which they sincerely believe. I called myself agnostic for a long time, but looking back on it, I never once believed in a God, so that really means I've been an atheist all these years. I think that maybe I adopted the agnostic front so as to not have to pretend I believed in all the bullshit, but also without ruffling the feathers of those that did. I now realize that these feathers need to be ruffled for the good of our species, so I am now out of the closet and I am pissed off. Number 12. If you could go back and kill Adolf Hitler as an infant, would you? I actually don't think so. If nothing else, I know that our current timeline or history has gotten us to at least the year 2006 without human extinction. I can make no guesses as to what direction history would take if Hitler had not existed. I don't think it's a safe bet. I'm not a historian, but I would be very interested to hear what historians think might have been if Adolf Hitler had died as an infant. Now, this is not to say that I think he was justified in any way, shape, or form in any of his actions. All I'm saying is that since I have no idea how history might change, were we to change that one event, I would just as soon not fuck with it. It might sound callous to let 6 million people die, but I think that's better than risking the lives of 6 billion.